I didn't want you to go. All right, that's all right though. So today I'm going to talk about the mythology that is Cocaine Bear. And I'm just getting set up for my other streams as well. You know, you got to be as efficient. But this is one of the best examples. And I'm just getting set up of developing American mythology. Like 100% what it is. Come on, Mike, out later. This is 100% what it is. This is American mythology. And like I always, most of the time say that mythology is evolving, right? Always. Mythology evolves. Mythology is a living thing. Even ancient mythologies are evolving, and we're writing new mythologies all the time. Things get mythologized, like heavily. We love mythologizing people. We love mythologizing events, right? All that stuff. And in this case, we're going to talk about this developing mythology, right? And this was an actual mythology. Now, you guys may remember, I think it must have been Elizabeth Banks. Let me find an image for you guys here. I think this was Elizabeth Banks who did this movie. And this must have come out like a couple of years ago. And I'm just going to grab a couple of shots so you can just kind of see. And this is the actress Elizabeth Banks, who you probably know from like Zack and Miri. She's been in a lot of stuff. She was like in 40-Year-Old Virgin for a small bit, but she's gotten in producing, and she's done a really good job. Like, she's obviously like zoned in. Like, she totally gets comedy, and I really like this lady's work. Like, I really like her, right? I really like what she's done. I've only seen her in comedic stance, like in the comedic movies that she's done, but she's to me she does it right. She gets it right. Right. You ain't Whoopi Goldberg at her heyday, but you're pretty damn funny, right? And I appreciate true craftsmanship, right? So this again is Elizabeth Banks, so you can just get a reference to her. This, of course, is Elizabeth Banks, and you've seen this actress around. She did the one like where she goes to the guy's house and has to sneak out, Walk of Shame, right? Which is hilarious, by the way, as well. But I think her best one was the most she does with Seth Rogen, where Zack and Miri do a porno. So the reason I'm talking about her now is because she was the producer of Cocaine Bear. So she's the one who actually brought the myth of Cocaine Bear to the big screen. Now we have to remember that long before this became a movie, right? This was just a myth. It was literally like an old school mythology, right? Like, you know, anything else you would hear, right? Myth of cocaine. I can't type and talk at the same time. Okay, anyway. So before this became any kind of mythology, this was just a story that developed like any other story develops. Like, you know, you want to talk about like, they were putting alligators in the sewer systems, and now there's all these, you know, giant alligators running around like in the sewer systems. I don't know if this is true because I don't go down in the sewer systems, but we've never heard any reports of actual giant alligators being in the sewer system, right? But this is truly an American myth. Again, I don't know if other cultures have stories about, you know, alligators in their sewer systems. I don't know. I haven't seen anything, so I'm only going to judge it by what I see, right? So thank you for stopping in, by the way, for anyone jumping in right now. Okay. So to me, this is, again, an extremely uniquely American mythology. This is Americana, like at its highest or at its lowest, but it deserves us taking a look, right? So I'm just kind of waiting for some people to get in. I got all my streams going right now. Just waiting for a couple of people to get in so I can really cook on the hows and the whys and all the stuff that went into actualizing this mythology, right? And so again, I'm going to set the time frame. We're talking about the 80s. And if you've heard me talk about the 80s before, you know I will talk about the 80s. And it ain't good, right? 80s were my childhood. And there's a lot going on that children shouldn't have seen, right? When we talk about the 80s. And I will reference, like, the people I hold are responsible for all this nonsense was these goddamn boomers, right? These goddamn boomers who set us up. The reason why we have a mythology of Cocaine Bear, right? Like, why would we have a mythology about? Why would we have a myth about a bear on cocaine? Why would that exist, right? Because cultures produce mythology kind of based on what's going. It's usually some kind of reflection, right? Like, we don't understand why there's rain. We don't understand why the wind comes up. We're trying to get our fingers on this whole drought situation, right? And so, we do these things as ways of explaining our culture, around us, to us, among us. This is us talking about our culture in real time. That's typically what, mythology really is, right? It's us talking about our stuff in real time. And that's what we're doing here with this Cocaine Bear situation, is talking about American culture. And unfortunately, there's a lot of cocaine in American culture at this period of time. Unfortunately, I say that, and I'm going to be very firm about this, right? And we have to remember, we hear people talking about their cocaine years all the time. And here's the thing, here's a great example, like the 80s. This is 80s, right?
You know what I used to eat for breakfast? Cocaine.
Yeah. You hear that?
You know what I used to eat for lunch?
Right?
Cocaine.
Yes.
What'd you have for dinner?
Yes. I'm going to play that for you guys so you can hear this, right? I get a better copy of this. Listen to what she's saying, right? You guys remember this movie from Role Models. This is significant,
You know what I
okay?
used to eat for breakfast? Cocaine.
Yep.
You know what I used to eat for lunch?
Cocaine.
Cocaine.
What'd you have for dinner? Was it cocaine?
And it probably was cocaine. And what I'm trying to get out to you guys right now is that during the 80s, cocaine was a lot more acceptable. In fact, cocaine was freaking everywhere, okay? So again, I'm gonna explain how we get the myth of a cocaine bear, all based on real stuff, right? This is all based on real stuff. And again, I want to point to the generation. Again, I'm X right here, right? This was not us. We were children while all this cocaine nonsense was going on. We were children, okay? So if we were children while all this cocaine nonsense was going on, who was doing all this cocaine nonsense? I'll let you guys work that out for yourself. And all I'm going to say is it's goddamn boomers, okay? And I also want to take a moment to also point out that during the same period of time, my generation, Generation X, we earned the title of the least parented generation of children of all time, okay? That's not a title that we bear proudly. We're not proud of that, right? We're not proud to say that per statistics, long kept statistics on culture and society, that our parents came out as they cared about us less than any other group of parents, right? That's the whole thing. We have to accept in our heads that our parents cared about us less than their parents cared about them, and their grandparents cared about everybody else, and how we would care about you guys, right? Like, I don't have any children. My friends who do have kids, they care about their kids. We care about you guys. We put in all kind of laws to protect you guys from stuff. Like, our boomers, they didn't care about seatbelt laws, right? That kind of came at the end of their reign. Okay, they did slight seatbelt, but most of the time they didn't care. They would let us ride around in beds, open trucks. Like, many times as a child, when you're at your most fragile, I'm going to put you in the high danger spot, right? For long trips, okay? This is what was going on. And the reason was, and they'll lie to you guys, they'll tell you some other, legislation, or we just didn't do it back then. The truth was that they did not care, okay? And maybe the reason that they didn't care was all cocaine. Maybe the reason for them not caring about us was the fact that...
For breakfast? Cocaine.
Yeah. Maybe the reason they didn't care about us is because for breakfast, they ate cocaine. I don't know why, but perhaps this will get the dialogue going and we'll figure out why. Like, Mom, why didn't you guys parent us more back then?
You know what I used to eat for lunch? Cocaine.
Okay, well, maybe that's why maybe that's the answer that I'm searching for through all this, is that they didn't care about us because they were too busy eating cocaine for breakfast and for lunch, right? And you eat cocaine for breakfast and lunch. You don't eat any food, by the way. That was another thing. You know, so you had an ultra fit girl, like they were all into being fit too, because they didn't care about their children. And here's the thing. Here's a question I have for them.
What'd you have for dinner? Was it cocaine?
See, I think for dinner, they also had cocaine. So I think they had dinner for cocaine for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner. And that's when you don't take care of your damn kids, okay? So I'm not saying all those parents out of the boomer generation. And here's the thing, they get mad. Like, they will get mad. Boomers are going to get mad. Okay, but anyway, before I keep talking about boomers, let me explain the mythology here of Cocaine Bear. This is Cocaine Bear right here. And here's the myth, okay? Everybody get it, okay? Let's be real quiet here. So it was summer, and there's a cocaine dealer. He has to fly his cocaine out of Georgia, and I think he was intended to get to California. I don't know. But this is 1985. The year is 1985, okay? This cocaine dealer has to fly his cocaine out, and he's getting chased the entire way. And he gets on his plane, but surveillance has got him under their sights, right? So he's like, the only way I can get out of this is I gotta drop this cocaine, I gotta ditch his plane. So he takes the cocaine. Again, probably none of this is true because he's high off cocaine, right? So he takes the cocaine and he starts dumping out big duffel bags, millions of dollars of cocaine. That's what you see how we have piles of cocaine just all around. Like, you guys have seen the movies, right? If you haven't watched the movies, go watch those movies and remember, those are your grandparents or your great-grandparents doing this, right? Like, I'm probably creeping up to, like, my friends now have kids that are old enough that they have kids. So a lot of my friends are grandparents now. So I can't say your grandparents. These are your even worse. These are your great-grandparents. Your great-grandparents were doing a lot of cocaine. Again, these are your great-grandparents here. I'm just going to throw this up there again. So just remember, these are your grandparents.
For breakfast? Cocaine.
Yeah.
You know what I used to eat for lunch? Cocaine.
That's your great-grandparents, Nana, and all them that seem so nice now, they were doing a lot of cocaine. So anyway, I'm getting digressing from the story. So the story goes that they drop all this cocaine off over the forest. And what happens to be in the forest a lot? Animals like bears. And so this bear discovers these like endless bags of cocaine. And the bear starts doing cocaine. And now the bear is just like in the mountains of Georgia. This is in Georgia where this all goes down. And the bear goes on a killing spree, right? Now, why would we enjoy a bear going on a killing spree? Well, that ties into some other mythology about the terror of the berserker. There's actual mythologies of animals going berserk because we've been doing crazy stuff. Like it's very common for nature to get its lick back, right? Like that's very common. There's been a lot of stories. We haven't been making them recently where we did some stuff and nature's like, oh, okay, I'll be right back. I got you. And nature comes back with something like this, like a berserker bear. So these are old myths. Like you hear about them, like a lot of Native American, Inuit mythologies talk about like berserker bears, right? Because this was a problem. This is something we really actually had to deal with, these berserker bears or berserker animals. So this cocaine bear obviously fed right into that entire mythology, right? So we just sucked it up. We absolutely sucked it up. And the story is that this bear gets high on cocaine. He goes out, he kills people because he's high on cocaine. And whenever he come down, he go back to his stash and get some more cocaine. So the bear was now eating cocaine. What'd you have for breakfast? Cocaine. This is what the bear was doing in this mythology. And this got passed around just like the story of us dropping baby alligators into the sewer systems. And now we have giant alligators in the sewer system that'll eat you. Again, I can't confirm or deny this. I just can tell you where the story came from, right? Like this is urban mythology, urban myths and folk tales. They're all essentially the same things, right? They're all the same stuff, right? So now we got this bear hopped on cocaine who's going around killing people until he runs out of cocaine. Because if you saw a lot of movies, like you cannot kill somebody on cocaine. Cocaine, like per the 80s, per what they said in the 80s, cocaine also gave you superpowers, okay? Cocaine also gave you superpowers, right? So I'm going to sum it with the 80s. Like the 80s are, again, your great-grandparents. This is them talking, right? Okay.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
All right. You hear what they talk about it? You hear? We're going to play that again. Excuse me, Mr. James. Can you tell me what your opinion of cocaine is?
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Exactly. Okay. And if you watch the movie Scarface, like he was full of cocaine. And yeah, so we're going to talk about Scarface in a little while and why that matters in this story, right? Because again, this is a whole cocaine like culture at this point. It really is a cocaine culture. Okay, so anyway, let's get back to this bear myth. So the bear goes out and the bear just, because he's high on cocaine, like a bear is already a terror. So what makes everything tougher, stronger, faster? Cocaine. Cocaine, all right? This is what 80s lore was telling us about cocaine. And remember, like, the people who were telling us about cocaine are the same people who are probably doing the cocaine, right? I'm telling you, this is insidious. Imagine being a child growing up in this environment where everywhere you go, there's cocaine. People are having cocaine for breakfast, people are having cocaine for lunch, and people are also having cocaine for dinner. This is the environment that I had to grow up in as a child, okay? And then we start seeing some of the stuff that went on in the 80s, stuff starts making a lot of sense, okay? So again, this is the mythology that this happens, and they eventually cure the bear, all right? That's not the truth, okay? We can get that wasn't the total truth, because in the real actual, and now, the fact that this is a real story should tell you a lot about the 80s, okay? This is a story about understanding the 80s, right? And some of the kooky behaviors and why we were the least parented generation of all time, right? And this movie says a lot too, because in the movie, it's two kids who just went off by themselves to go investigate, all right? So that's another truth to this story, okay? But in real life, this is 1985, a drug smuggler by the name of Andrew C. Thornton II dumped duffel bags of cocaine out of his plane into the wilderness of Georgia. A black bear found the stash. The bear reportedly consumed millions of dollars worth of cocaine before dying, okay, almost instantly from overdose and organ failure, okay? So again, the bear died. In real life, the bear dies. The bear doesn't go on a rampage, a hilarious rampage of killing. The bear doesn't embark on an extremely comedic tour of running up on people hiking through the forest and forest rangers and just decimating it. The bear doesn't actually do that. In real life, okay, bear dies. Nobody can do that much cocaine. In 80s mythology, you can. In 80s mythology, there's no such thing as too much cocaine, okay? So this is the evolving mythology of cocaine. So what we do now, the bear dies of organ failure. So the bear is dead. It's very tragic. It's a very tragic bear story, right? I'm sure the entire bear community was now all up in arms because this could happen to any bear. These assholes could drop some cocaine on you and killing our kids. It's how they killing our kids, by getting them addicted to cocaine. Bears could actually say this after this day went down, okay? And that should be the end of the story. That should be as bad as it gets, but it's not. It's not. From that point, now we immortalize the bear. For what? What do we immortalize the bear from? From ODing on coke. For finding a stash of cocaine and just going ham on it and dying of a cocaine overdose. We as a culture, society, and the people said, that's a myth right there. We need to talk about this guy more. He needs to live forever. He needs to live forever. Only because lots of bears, I'm sure like some other black bears tragically died that day from uncocaine related incidents, right? I'm sure most of the bears that died that year had nothing to do with cocaine, okay? I'm sure it could have been like fending off attackers, the weather, like intruding on your all these terrible things that could have led to the death of a black bear. They didn't immortalize any of those. We did not immortalize any of those bears, but we immortalized the one that did cocaine. Okay, if you don't believe that says something about us as a culture, okay, fine. I won't argue with you on that point. I'll simply move forward, okay? So the story should have ended with the bear being dead, but instead it becomes immortalized. They literally taxidermy the bear's corpse, okay? This cocaine-riddled corpse. This cocaine-riddled bear corpse is now up on display, right? And you want to know what? People come to see it. Okay? So it's a lot going on. It's a lot of cocaine fixation here, right? That bears, people were actually going to see this bear, right? This was a thing. I know it was nobody in my generation. And I know there's nobody probably in your generation. So that only leaves a couple of generations who might have actually been going to see this coked up bear, right? Wasn't us. Wasn't you. So, I don't know. I'm not going to say anything about goddamn boomers, but it was not us, okay? And that's important that we didn't have anything to do with this, okay? So this story should be over. It's already bad enough. This should be over. We shouldn't have to worry about another story about a bear finding a bunch of cocaine. Like that's like we're ready to move on from those kind of stories, right? At least I am. I feel like you are too. So we're ready to move on these kind of stories, but somebody keeps wanting to bring these bear with cocaine stories back all the freaking time, right? It ain't me, okay? So they have tourism going around this bear, and then, of course, here comes the internet. If you ever want something dead to come back to life, let the internet find it. There's so much stuff that the internet doesn't know about that when they find something, when the internet gets it, it is excited about it. Internet's, I got to spread this, right? I don't know if I agree if this is a part of our culture that we need to revive internet. I don't know if that's helping anybody's situation that you discovered the story. But they discover the story, then through Elizabeth Banks, Hollywood turns this into a blood-soaked action comedy, which is worth every penny, right? It was a great representation. I felt like they were very accurate while telling this complete nonsensical story, but it was enjoyable. It was highly enjoyable. So this real bear, and we don't even know his name. They didn't even get a bear name. I guess your name is Cocaine Bear. I guess for your mom didn't give you that name, but your name now is Cocaine Bear. For all of history, you are Cocaine Bear. And what does this say? So why Cocaine Bear? Why Cocaine Bear? Well, first of all, I mentioned there was a berserker connection, right? Which is like bear from Scandinavia, like uncontrollable rage, heightened strength, pain resistance, near superhuman or supernatural aggression, unstoppable mix. So instead of like the mysticism that used to come from like the Scandinavian cultures that would facilitate a berserker, we just took all that and said cocaine, right? Cocaine was I'm telling you guys, to these guys, cocaine was kind of magical. It really was magical for them. Like they felt like if they got some cocaine, you could do anything. And that's how they treat it. So you're unstoppable with cocaine. Okay. Now, at the time, in America, there was a lot of cocaine around. I'm telling you guys, man. I'm telling you, man. These boomers, I'm glad they're getting older now. They can't fight as well as they used to. Because these savages were actually a train wreck. They were a problem. The reason why we had stories about Cocaine Bear is because it was that much cocaine going around. There was cocaine freaking everywhere. All right, every single place you turned, there was cocaine. Look. I remember being a child, a kid, and I grew up in a relatively conservative household. Right, like seriously, like nobody drank him out. None of that. We didn't really see that in my household. Right. And my grandfather used to drink a lot of beer. Okay, I'm lying. He drank beer and smoked cigarettes. I go to a party as a child and I end up going to the bathroom, and I don't know if I went to the wrong bathroom. Nobody designated this is the cocaine bathroom, but I go in there and on the sink is cocaine, right? Like literally. So I saw cocaine for the first time at like 12. That ain't right, y'all. And I'm sure, I hope my mother doesn't hear this one. Sometimes she listens in, sometimes she doesn't. I really hope you're not listening to this one because she hates the criticism of how bad her generation were parenting. They deny it. Deny. So I let her have that denial, and I'll never tell her that, yeah, under your guidance, I saw some cocaine at 12 years old. Okay. That's it. I mean, but again, cocaine was everywhere. And I'm going to point this out to you, right? Point out to you where cocaine's everywhere, okay? So first of all, I don't know if you ever saw this gem of a show here, okay? Miami Vice. This is one of my mother's favorite. This is an extremely popular show from the 80s, right? And what is this show about? Well, Miami Vice is about two Miami Vice police officers who are primarily out chasing down drug dealers. Because that was a real thing. They were out there catching people trafficking drugs. Although they look like drug dealers. Like everything about them was like, yeah, we're drug dealers, right? The car, the Ferrari, the Cadillac, the houseboat, Rico and Tubbs. Like, these were the two dudes. Don Johnson, Philip Michael Thomas, right? This is a great show, by the way. And the reason we had to have this show, because we did have more cops because we had to stop cocaine. Miami has a particularly insane history about cocaine. In fact, the word on the street is that cocaine built Miami. The reason why Miami is what it is right now is because of cocaine. Okay? There's a great documentary. I I keep thinking they're going to bring out this movie on, I think they call her La Madrina. I think it's La Madrina, man. It's Griselda Blanco. And if you haven't heard of Griselda Blanco, this is an incredible story about a drug trafficker. I think she was definitely South American. Can you find some information and images on Griselda Blanco? I believe they used to call her La Mitrana. She was a very famous drug dealer. And she was supposedly the queen of cocaine. Like, she was dealing on the East Coast. I think initially, Griselda Blanco. Yeah, there's a couple of, the godmother. All right, La Madrina. Yeah, La Madrina. And she was a Colombian. So this is why we be talking about Colombians, right? This is a Colombian. She was from Medellin, Colombia. She died in 2012, okay? And she was known as the godmother, the Black Widow. Let's see if it has any images of her. And here's the thing. Not a hot looking chick, man. And I know we're expecting something, but again, this is after she's already been arrested. So this is actual images of her, right? But this is and I'm talking about, she's not great looking now, because she's, obviously she's not alive anymore. So I don't really have to worry about her. Who did that produce here? What's going on here? Oh, there it is. Okay. So this is the godmother, Griselda Blanco. And there's some great films about her. The one I liked the best, man, was Cocaine Cowboys. Can you find images of the film Cocaine Cowboys, which featured her? And so this is the kind of stories, this is how real it was. And the rise to fame, how much cocaine, she is said to have been Pablo Escobar, I fed him. That's what she says. Whether that's true or not is part of the, again, the mythology of who she was. But the word on the street was that she was bigger than Escobar, that he may have even come out of her camp, So she again is at the height of it, and this is why our culture focused on stuff like this. This is why we were making Bear. This is how you get Cocaine Bear, because this real culture was going on. So we can see some of the most dominant. We still have films about her. Cocaine Bear. This is all real stuff, man. This stuff wasn't even a joke, man. This is for real. It is not for play in any regard, right? So this is Griselda Blanco. So I'm just kind of building a profile. This is what we were seeing in the 80s. This is what our TV shows were about. Our movies were about this. Let me find one that really hammers this one home. Now, I know you guys know about this one, okay? Scarface. Scarface is all about cocaine in Miami. So they're telling the story. We're not even hiding at this point. We're rooting for the cocaine dealer, right? And Tony Montana. And we know this scene. There's a big mountain of cocaine. And so he does all this cocaine. And, at his last scene, he's getting blasted. I don't know how many times he gets shot. But he gets shot it's dozens of times he must get shot. Doesn't kill him because the cocaine gives you superhuman strength, right? We know this about cocaine because we've talked about this for a long time. Cocaine gives you all the strength. So again, the point is that this is what our culture was like, or at least for the generation ahead of us. And cocaine was everywhere. So they were talking about cocaine all the time. That is how you get a story about Cocaine Bear. But it doesn't stop there. You would think that's a lot, right? They were talking about cocaine in major production movies. Some of our highest actors, Al Pacino, Michelle Pfeiffer. I want to say, was that Stone who directed that? I don't know if that was Oliver Stone. I can't remember who the director was on that one, but a legendary director directing film all about cocaine. And it is a lot, but that's not where it goes away. During that same period of time, we had cocaine in Major League Baseball. There were several Major League Baseball scandals about people being doped up on cocaine. And if I remember correctly, there were heavy accusations against the New York Mets. And a lot of those guys ended up going to rehab. Darryl Strawberry spent half his life going to rehab. I think Dwight Gooden like Hall of Fame level players who were seriously going through some cocaine, right? It's New York, right? They got the money, like they're partying, right? So this is like cocaine. Like I said, cocaine was huge back then. Cocaine was everywhere back then, at least in the United States. And that's what they made it seem like, right? There was all this money, this Reagan, all this money going on. And then cocaine didn't even go. So we got cocaine in Major League Baseball. Then cocaine hits the NBA hard, right? Lynn Bias story. This guy was supposed to extend the winning window for the legendary Celtics team, the Bird Celtics team. This was a guy who was the number one pick. I think it's like the year before Jordan comes in the league or a year after. It's in this time. And they were looking at this guy, it must have been after, because they were looking at this guy as like someone who could guard a Michael Jordan. Like imagine you add an athletic wing to that Celtics team, right? He could play off of Bird. Bird could play his natural spot, maybe more of a 3 or 4. This guy could be the 2, whatever it was. He was going to give you the one thing that team didn't have a lot of was hyper athleticism, right? You can kind of see this guy was hyper athletic dude out of Maryland, gets drafted and predictably goes out to party to celebrate getting drafted number 1 in the first round draft pick. And what does he do? Cocaine, and he overdoses and dies that night. So it's a very tragic story that worked its way. This is cocaine now in the NBA. So cocaine is literally everywhere. And this is how a culture produces something like Cocaine Bear. Because it's that prevalent. We're telling mythologies about it. And this says a lot about our culture at that period, that junction of who we were. Like the consumerism, like the wildness, like the sadness of the story, like all this stuff was just coalescing together. And we were just like, now thankfully, we moved on with our lives, man. Right now, thankfully, we're all better people. Like we don't do coke anymore and do weird stuff to get money to get coke anymore. We don't do that anymore. We stopped doing this and we're better now that we've gotten rid of this stain of coke all over like everything that we're touching. So I wanted to touch on it, let you guys feel it, work with you guys on the story about Cocaine Bear. Give me your thoughts and feedback. Got some more questions, but I want you to understand like the development of actual mythology as we're seeing it live before our face. Cocaine Bear was exactly adding to the American mythological gallery. So I'm going to stop it off right there. Again, I'll be back. I don't know if I'll be back later today, but at some point, I'll be back on some point, right? Probably tomorrow, I'll probably check in. But if something hits me and I just like, man, I got to do this, then obviously I'll jump on and get something done. But as always, you guys can go. I ask that you go to the channel, you hit that like, you hit that subscribe. Always helps. And, from there, we'll see what happens, man. I'm always here enjoying the time with you guys. Thank you for stopping in. And